different fermentation temperature. They're generally a higher ABV. Generally, your IPA start at about 7%, and again have a much higher hop concentration. Now, recently there's this big wave of session IPAs because people want the bite of an IPA but want to be able to drink them all day. And so 7.5 is a little much for some folks. That is my session beer, for the record. But yeah, so now you've got sessions that come in under 5. But a pale ale is basically going to be, so if you're drinking an IPA and then you go to a pale ale, you'll notice the fall off. It's not as bitter. It's not going to have the leave that an IPA has. You won't have that I just chewed on a cone taste in your mouth. But they are initially from the same line of style.
Okay, so long story short, you just can't walk out of there, get home, and think that you might have a distinctly different brew than what you may have intended to get if you are, in fact, an IPA fan.
Right. If it says pale ale, it is not going to be an IPA.
Okay.
And if you see something that just says ale, that's because someone has either A, gotten lazy, or B, does not fall into any of these defined categories that are currently the beer handles.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, man, I totally forgot one thing on the intro, which was Ray Donovan. And so we're going to take this quick break, and then we're going to come back, catch up on Ray Donovan, Hoops and Hop style really quick, make one small detour to talk about the Carmichael Show versus Blackish, and then get into our NBA discussion. Have you seen the Carmichael Show at all? No, we talked about it.
I have not.
All right, well, we're not even going to get into the Carmichael Show in the second half. I just thought I'd update you on something, which I may or may not, depending on how we're doing for time. But we will touch base on our on Ray Donovan, as we're down to just 2 shows left for the season after tonight. So we'll touch base on that, and then we'll get into these NBA topics and close out this episode. So we'll come back in just a minute.
We are One Take Podcast Nation, bringing you quality on-demand audio in sports, entertainment, lifestyle, and more. You have podcasts from B. Meeks, Jim Shoe Johnny, show host Wood, and host of others from around the country. No matter what your sport is, we have it covered. So check us out on OneTakePodcast.com, or if you want to go straight to our podcast channel, visit www.otpn.us. That's otpn.us. Sponsors and podcasters are always welcomed.
All right, we back at it. Trying to drum up a little business, a little traffic for the team, One Take Podcast Nation family.
That is super official right there.
Yeah, I thought, we put a little bow tie on it. Maybe we go in the same route as Lagunitas.
Man.
Dressing up a little bit.
Did you sell out 50%?
I cannot disclose where I am with my percentage on Pay Me No Mind at this moment.
Man.
But no, real rap, man. Moving on, trying to get, because we're at about 50 minutes. So let's try in this 30 or 40 minutes. Hey, Hoops and Hops comes to you once every 2 weeks. So, this is a longer podcast. But that was an interesting discussion on craft beer. Might have a local winery coming on in a couple of weeks, man. It's something for you to keep on the out there on the docket. But Ray Donovan, man, we haven't talked. A lot has transpired since the last we talked, man. Where are you at with this season? What's your thoughts on where we are before we get into this NBA stuff, man? As I came over, you were just wrapping up the latest episode. I don't know what possibly to expect tonight, but where you at with everything?
So when we first started talking about this show, we made a point to kind of say we don't know what this show is.
Full disclosure. And now, after the last 2 weeks, I'm really confused.
Because I was going to say, I guess I know what this show is now. I didn't know that. I guess I didn't know there was a market for that to be a show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a drama that centers around one guy who has limitless reach. The guy, whenever somebody's like, I know a guy that knows a guy, Ray Donovan is that guy. He's the guy that knows everybody. And I'm good with the show. Like, there have been some interesting points. Hank Azaria's character returning,
I was gonna get into that.
has been entertaining. I'm curious to see where all that goes.
Let me ask you this about Hank Azaria now that you mentioned it. Did they go a little overboard in depicting or illustrating that he's a dirtbag by leaving him with the scruffy beard? I mean, was that a little
So you took
overt?
it as, I took it as inflection that he is basically out of it now. Like, he's a scrub now.
He's a step away from Skid Row.
Yeah, like I didn't take it as an intimidation factor.
No. That's what I meant with the scruffy beard.
Okay.
Like, this is the dude that's down on his luck.
Yeah.
Who's really falling from his perch.
He's falling from grace.
But I just thought they went a little far because he doesn't have a nice 5 o'clock shadow. He has like the scrappy beard.
Yeah, it's the my beard only grows up half of my face, and I don't decide to line it up beard.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I was meaning, but that's interesting. Okay, so a couple of episodes, the Finney family was gone. Ray went on and knocked off Paige Finney. And Ray looks like he's going to capitalize on his 3% after we thought that he squandered that.
Yeah.
But what about the relationship that is developing between Abby and Terry? This is kind of freaking me out.
No, man, I wish we had covered this show last week. I called this as soon as Terry went over there to look at that room. I called it. I told Mike, I was like, yo, watch what I tell you. This is going to be an issue. He is going to start doing all the stuff that Ray doesn't do. And this last episode, he's playing video games with Connor. He helping Abby take out the groceries.
He's concerned about the teacher.
Right. Like, he is the absent father figure for that whole house. And Ray, I think, started to notice it this episode.
Getting the coffee.
Yeah. Because he's like, "Let me take you to school, Con." And he's like, "Oh no, Mom and Uncle Terry are gonna drive me off." Like, I'm telling you, if I'm calling it, there's going to be a scene of some form of tension between him and Abby. I'm not saying it goes anywhere. I'm just saying it comes up.
It's interesting because one thing that I feel like the show is in over its head and trying to deal with is Bridget and Donnell and the teacher. It seems like they don't know how, and Bridget is so young looking naturally I mean, her individually. So I'm kind of like, even though she may be 16 or 17, she really looks 14 or 15 to me.
Yeah, they said she's 17 on this episode.
Okay. But so we have these two highly inappropriate relationships developing at the same time with her and her teacher, and then Terry and Abby. And that's something I'm keeping an eye on. I noticed two other things. Boxing has kind of fell to is no longer a storyline. I noticed, it was interesting to watch Ray soften up on Teresa, who's married Bunch, and kind of makes him whole. But then my man, who seemed to struggle in figuring out what the hell his role in the show is, Daryl, and now he's decided to leave with his female, who
his lady of the night,
who he's kissing in the mouth,
which I also called out 2 weeks ago. Because they were outside and he came up and like pat her on the leg. Someone's like, "Oh, he's gonna try to wife her."
Right. So I don't know, man. I mean, this week, and then Ray even softened up and helped his father get out of the Manassian situation. But the way that he quickly flips thing, it was really to get power to kind of push what's his name, Mick, out of the situation altogether.
Yeah.
So Mick is now contemplating and is in preparation to leave LA, leading us in. Oh, and then when we last did speak, I didn't know who the hell Father Romero was, but now we've seen who he is.
Yeah.
Quickly, so we can move on. Going into tonight, Finney has kind of been figured out by the investigation that Azaria has done. And the body, I guess, he might even know where the body is. He has the poker already from the fireplace set. What's your anticipation for tonight, man? I mean,
I try not to build expectation for right now.
Right.
And I know that sounds like I'm painting this terrible picture of the show, because I do watch it, so I do enjoy it. The Armenian situation, where'd this woman come from that was his fix for this? Like, his reach is endless.
Hazmi.
Yeah,
man.
That threw me for a loop, like, because I felt like that had the potential to be a very interesting end of season scenario.
Right.
Maybe there were bullets flying. Oh no, Ray's involved now. We got 20 minutes to wrap this whole situation up.
Right.
So, I guess that whole situation is wrapped up now. So it's gonna come down to Hank Azaria and whatever he tries to bully Ray into with I can't think of Ray's right hand man, Avi, because he's gonna get something on Avi.
But and that's what was kind of foul. I mean, was kind of messed up with me was that Ray actually thought Javi leaving the country as Strauss Varick, the husband that's been ostracized, that it wasn't going to come out that Varick really didn't leave the country.
I mean, Varick is...
But I guess that set us up for Cochran to re-enter the show.
Yeah, and I mean...
We've seen Ray have some missteps this season, man.
Yeah, I don't even know if I consider that a misstep. We've definitely seen some. Even that, like, Hank Azaria, what was he doing? He was looking at traffic footage? Like, how did he even come across Avi and all that identification?
There was some
because he was at his desk flipping through paperwork for whatever he's supposed to be doing with this NFL deal, and all of a sudden he sees Avi's picture somewhere.
I think he was looking for Varick. I think that that investigative agency, Dybeck, is they're trying to vet out the Finney group for the NFL.
Ownership. Okay.
So I think needing to speak with Varick, his passport got pulled, and then he was like, "Hold up." So I'm not trying to press you, man, because I don't know where the hell we could go tonight. I don't know what the end of the season could ultimately be. Is it going to be an internal struggle? They didn't do much with Connor this season. He's kind of been lingering around. They tried to move Daryl around a little bit, but now he's a little lost.
Hey, good for Daryl for trying to get out of that hole. He knew Mick was about to bring fire and brimstone down. He was like, I got to get my lady of the night and get out of here.
But man, next season, Daryl's got to... he's got to understand that any business dealings with Mick is going to result in him being shorted.
He's apparently not a very bright kid.
So... But we have him, and we'll get ready to move on. But it was just good to catch up. I mean, we're about 3 episodes since we've spoken. I don't know if the showdown is between Ray and Cochran, Ray and the Finney group. I mean, Ray can't lose his stake in the team. The family, Ray and Terry. I would assume that Bunch comes back into play this week in some form. you know, that, like we said, we just don't know what the hell we've been watching. There's a lot of interesting stories going on. Right now, we're at about an hour into the show, man. So we got like 30 minutes to wrap up all this NBA stuff.
Let's push.
So let's go on and put the pressure on, the full court press.